G'day, good evening, welcome. It is ESL Challenger League for yet another season. We're back for season number 48. And Pilski, you're looking fine tonight. What's the occasion? Why are you looking so dressed up?
Dressed up, bro. I literally just rolled out of bed. It's freezing cold here. So I'm trying to keep my brain warm because my brain needs to watch some epic Counter-Strike. But you're looking dressed up. You got some ESL merch on. That's very topical. That's very appropriate for this show, Jordan. Good job, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I like to represent, and obviously this being the first day of the new season, I think obviously we should talk about what is ESL Challenger League and all of that fun business that, probably at this point people do generally know what ESL Challenger League is. It's been kicking around for a while, but if you're new here, obviously this is kind of like, I guess I would say it's a bit more of like a developmental league actually, at least when it comes to Asia. It may not necessarily be quite as much the case in North America and Europe, where you do have like a huge number of teams, but obviously within Asia and obviously in Oceania as well, this is one of those really important sort of cornerstone leagues that we get to see the teams playing in, and oftentimes it's kind of like those tier 2 teams in most cases. You do sort of have some of the tier 1 teams, but couple of notable omissions this season around the top end of things, which we'll get into a little bit, but Mongols and Rare Atom not here, so that'll be something to kind of keep in mind. And it's probably good news for some of those teams that are sitting towards the bottom end, because when we look at the format here, you'll see that there is only so many positions inside the playoffs, right? So your first kind of cutoff is going to be to make it into the top 10, and then beyond there, obviously top 6, top 2 out of the regular season, you'll get some sort of benefit going into the playoffs. If you're not a team that's challenging for the top 10, well, ideally you'd like to place within the 11th position, in which case you get a free berth back in for next season. And failing that, well, either you're fighting for your life in relegation, or you just straight up get relegated if you sit and finish 15 and 16. So that's how it kind of breaks down here. And I'm sure that there's going to be no shortage of teams that are going to be trying to dodge that 15 and 16 place.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to get auto-relegated. I think the good news about ESL Challenger League, though, is usually a team or two will die along the way and avoid you having to worry about that possibility. So it's not what we hope for, but at the end of the day, I've seen this league, this is season 48, guys. I've seen this league play out like so many times now. It's just what happens at the end of the day. It's a pretty long format. There are teams that drop out for all kinds of reasons, whether it be like scheduling clashes or all kinds of other things. So at the end of the day, the main thing that I would say about the format, although it is interesting to see who gets relegated, who gets promoted, who goes into playoffs, blah, 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 is that there's just going to be a lot of games. It's a lot of games for all of these teams to play against one another. It gives you a lot of opportunities to get reps in CS2 against a whole variety of opponents here in the Asia region. And that's a good thing just for both the grassroots as well as just the teams that are trying to stay relevant in terms of the top end of the Asia scene, keeping them consistent, keeping them active.
Yeah, quite a few interesting teams to kind of take a note of here. Obviously, you've got sort of the returning favorites there on the left side of the screen. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about them throughout the coming weeks. Daewoo United back again, God's Reign back as well. And it's kind of cool to see those two teams, because they were two teams that we thought, we're not like super excited to sort of see how they're going, in the sense that they're not like performing to a crazy level, but you, again, with the context in mind that this is going to be a bit of like a developmental league, it is kind of cool to see an Indonesian roster again coming through, which is like not something that we really have seen in a very long time, actually, at least at this level. So that's pretty cool in the case of Daewoo United, and we've got Sissi in that roster as well. He's someone that has been around for a while, so that'll be kind of cool to see. But beyond that conversation, obviously, we have to talk about the matchup that we've got tonight, and it is going to be the Mongolian Derby. It is ATOX, who we all know and love, and I'm sure are going to be coming into this one as pretty heavy favorites, up against IHC Esports, which is a relatively new team that's been put together. Obviously, IHC is an organization that most people will remember from the tenure of the current day Mongols in that organization. They obviously moved on from that team a little while ago, back in 2023. But IHC still kind of kicking around, and the roster that they put together earlier on in the year, in about April, It's not a bad shout at all. It's consisting of Aryuko, Ru, and Accuracy as far as like kind of like those big or returning names from the Mongolian scene are concerned, and then a couple of sort of newer guys, newer blood coming into that roster. So an interesting little project that's been put together. I don't know that they're necessarily going to be a super competitive team in this season of ESL Challenger League, but it is nice to, again, see that depth in the Mongolian scene is kind of flowing through. So let's take a look at the two rosters for today, and you'll get a bit of an insight as to where this one might be headed. Pilsky, obviously, when we look at ATOX, it's kind of hard to go past them at the moment as far as being the number 2 team in Mongolia behind the Mongols.
100%. A little bit of a spicy storyline to this matchup is Accuracy obviously was on ATOX, and now he's gone over onto another team, so he's going to be playing against his former Annihilation. Did replace him in that ATOX roster. He was pretty decent in ATOX, but I think they just needed something a little bit more to try and hit another level, and I think Annihilation's been a great addition. Couple of other notable names kicking around the Mongolian scene. I think Aryuko, we saw him over at the Minor, if I remember correctly.
Myth Avenue Gaming, yeah.
Yeah, so was it him or the other Mongolian player in the roster that was kind of popping off at that tournament? I can't really remember, but I do remember them being better than I expected them to be, and I remember the Mongolian player, I think was it Stardust as well that was in that team? They had some pretty good games. So, look, we won't count these guys out. There's a couple of names as well there that, in my experience of watching Mongolian teams, there will be players that have no Liquipedia profile, haven't got very many games on HLTV, and then we rode up into the server and these guys are fragging out of control, especially playing against teams that they probably scrim all the time. They probably play in their regional leagues. So, look, we're still going to predict and root for ATOX because they've got a lot more tenure, a lot more relevancy in the scene. They should be taking this matchup out. But this early in the season, in a domestic derby, especially where Mongolia is concerned, I really wouldn't be surprised to see IHC win a map or even look really much more competitive than I'm expecting them to in this series. And that might not even be down to how good these teams are.
Yeah, look, I mean, I will say over the past week, I've seen some interesting upsets in the Asia region. I was casting the 5e Arena Cup for Asia a couple of days ago, and we were watching the Mongols play, and we were like, well, Mongols is going to win this one, and they're going to go and play internationally again. They just nabbed themselves that slot, and they got knocked out in groups, and was like a real shock, obviously. Yeah, I mean, they lost to Rare Adam. That was one thing, but then going down into the lower bracket, subsequently went on to drop another match as well, and it was just like, okay, well, these things that seem impossible before they happen can still happen, and I would say it's another one of those kinds of moments where I look at this matchup and it really should be ATOX 2-0 pretty comfortably every day of the week, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. IHC might be able to show us something, but I tell you who can show us a little something. This is the Kadir player to watch, Annihilation. You sort of highlighted that he's the newest addition to this ATOX roster, but at this stage, obviously not a particular recent addition. And we've seen quite a bit from ATOX with Annihilation in the roster, and I have to say I was positively impressed. I wasn't super sure what we were going to get from him when he was added to the team, because he did have quite a hiatus after departing from the Mongols, and like, well, is he going to come back and is he going to be a solid performer? And I'd have to say he definitely has been a solid performer. I feel like he's been an upgrade to that roster, and yeah, seems like a good signing as far as I'm concerned. The other thing I'll say about Annihilation is I have been catching up with him on Instagram, watching his stories, and it seems like he's just come back from holidays. So I think he had a pretty good time over in, I think it was maybe Thailand or something like that. Thailand or Bali, or I don't know, but probably Thailand given the proximity. But look, I'll say I'm sure he's rested and ready to go, and I'd imagine the rest of ATOX are as well, because obviously everyone coming off of this player break has had some time to rest and recuperate, and now it's time to sort of focus in again on yet another season of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, so look, we'll be keeping an eye on how these Mongol teams kind of finish in this season. There's a fair few of them. You got Cube and Clutch, who were participating in that last season. IHC and Huns being the teams that came through from relegation instead of sticking around from the previous season. And that's the interesting thing about ECL. You don't necessarily get all of the top teams in Asia. You already mentioned a couple of the teams that are missing in terms of, your Rare Atoms, your Mongols aren't playing in it because they've kind of, I feel like, surpassed this tier of competition and are getting invites for a lot of things these days. But there's even other teams that, are kind of slipping the top of my mind right now that you don't see in part of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest two would be
I'm
Mongols.
scrolling over Lin Vision's roster, which is why I was getting a bit confused. And I see that there's no Starry and there's someone called Afufu playing on their team, and Tyloo has not announced their 5th. That's a bit suspicious, but anyway, let's focus on the Mongolian derby in front of us first, I suppose.
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to jump onto Nuke to start things off here and, see whether or not ATOX can uphold their end of the bargain. Because really, I think that's kind of what this comes down to. It's if ATOX can perform to the level that we expect from them, they win this 2-0. There's no question about that. But maybe ATOX has a bit slow night, and that doesn't seem like it's going to be a particularly good start for ATOX either until Annihilation does chime in. There we go. Kadir player to watch, by the way. We called it correctly. He's got 3 kills to start things off in this pistol for himself, but it's on to Cabal to try and clutch it out now solo. He's got a smoke down, which will help prevent that player from Annex assisting in the initial fight. And then he finds Kyojin, and he's aware of the next player. The peak is going to come through, and Cabal gets it done. It really was just a 2v5 in the end there for ATOX. Thanks to Cabal and Annihilation, though, they've got the pistol.
Yeah, that's just, one of those very, very fast, scrappy rounds that you're probably going to see a lot of in this series and a lot of in ECL Asia. These teams, I feel like in this league, particularly with these best-of-1 formats and with so many games to be playing in the regular season, do love to run it down. And I think that was a perfect example of it. They do just kind of like to run at each other. Force way into the second round here for IHC. Rue dropped a rifle over to Accuracy. He's going to aggress on outside. ATOX running a bit of a default progression smoke to the backside of Annex, as well as Windows and Accuracy. He's trying to dance around this smoke and find himself a nice timing. Getting spammed out of position, completely surrounded, able to use the silence cult beautifully to find that opening pick and still gets away with it.
Yeah, 4-on-4. ATOX. Happy to sort of slow things down a little bit here. Do have a good spread of units all over the place. Cabal down lower. Zesta has managed to cross, and Annihilation looks like he's doing the same. And in the meanwhile, Cabal, again, is finding ways to have impact. He's got that pick onto Kyojin. That is going to allow Zesta a bomb plant down on B. So what was potentially 50-50 kind of a round with that opening pick for IHC, bringing it back to the 4-on-4, has now sort of slipped pretty quickly back in the direction of ATOX.
Yeah, they did a good job taking that lowers control. Think it was Cabal pretty self-sufficiently just kind of charging down secret there. They had their outside smokes invested to windows and backside of Annex. One of these players charging their way into warehouse, punished by Accuracy, and that is going to give a Galil over to Rue here, who will join up with the rest of the boys to save what they can here in CT spawn. Galil and 4 saved over, 5-7 in armor. Got some pistols, can be dropped over to some of the other players. So with all of these weaponries brought over into round number 3, that could pose a little bit of a threat here to the boys over on ATOX before we head into the gun rounds. But look, I think still a pretty solid start, despite a couple of kills going there, here and there for IHC so far. ATOX still seems to be playing pretty confidently and pretty in control of this game.
That's what you want to be seeing. Accuracy and Rue, though, holding on to a couple of rifles, might be able to have a bit of impact into this round. Oh. Deagle out. And that's going to be an opening pick for E-Fire. So, ATOX again going to have to do it with just the 4. And this is kind of just floating out in no man's land. I'm not sure what the idea really was behind that one for ATOX, but it has gone very much pear-shaped. A couple of good Deagle shots coming through, and some very awkwardly timed peaks from ATOX, and they've just sort of thrown this round away.
Yeah, I mean, this is classic ECL playstyle right now. They're kind of just autopiloting their way through the game, ATOX. throwing smokes on outside, taking very miscellaneous duels outside on yard, and some excellent shots from E-Fire on the Deagle there. Accuracy uses the saved Colt to perfection. And after those duels are lost on outside, you see the Lurk player in towards lobby, trying to get active, trying to walk outdoor and make a bit of a play. He's punished by the top hut player as well. That is a handful of guns turned over to IHC. A massive swing in terms of the economy, and ATOX feeling like they have to force a mix of AKs and pistols to try to keep this game in check.
Yeah, really shouldn't have found themselves in this position, but alas, it is what it is. I'm sure they're the kind of team that can get a lot done with a little, but accuracy on the other side of it, as you sort of mentioned in that pre-match, up against his former teammates, is going to be wanting to put on a good show, and that is about as good as it gets to start off with your preferred weapon.
I'm here for it, honestly. Ooh, annihilation on outside, caught there by E-Fire. Creeping up from Secret. You can see just how confident IHC is playing right now, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to an extent, like, there is a world we come into this one, what's the word? Underestimating IHC.
I mean, I just feel like every time I watch one of these, like, Mongolian derbies, I watch Clutch Gaming or something in ECL, it's this kind of game. Like, I feel like I've seen different teams of, like, these varying skill levels. You expect one team to win. And you know what? If this was, like, a qualifier to the RMR or something like that, this was, like, a open qualifier to a tournament, yeah, I reckon ATOX would be slapping them right now. But IHC, this is the kind of game where it's early on in the season. ATOX is probably a little sleepy after the player break. IHC is the team lower in the pecking order, with a player who's been kicked from the roster that he's playing against, and a couple of the other boys wanting to put on a good performance as well. I feel like their motivation to win a game like this is much, much higher, and they're showing that, playing confidently, trying to play very assertive, get in the face of ATOX and send a bit of a message, whereas ATOX, they're coming into this one lackadaisically. It's a long season, it's whatever. And
yeah,
if they don't wake up, yeah, I mean, legit, like, that's what this kind of game is at the end of the day. And that's how you can find yourself losing maps early on in the season, which, you know, in this kind of a format, I don't think ATOX is really going to care too much. They're probably going to make it back into playoffs anyway, but it means probably a little bit more to a team like IHC to be competitive against ATOX and build up a bit of confidence for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. These are not, like, complete unknown players in this IHC roster, so...
Oh, the movement is dirty from Zesta. He's just dancing with him. Block against an MP9. Should not be getting away with that.
No, he's found himself an MP9, in fact. And Wonders doesn't have any head armor, so, you know, could come into play. A little bit risky to be coming into this round with no head armor when you have 7.3k. Glock, 1B, off you go. May not be a huge concern, though. It's Ariukul is one holding on to Rampant. He's going to get the job done pretty well there with the assistance of E-Fire. So 3-2 is going to be the scoreline. And IHC slowly but surely put together a decent half here. Obviously, they lost the pistol and they dropped that sort of subsequent round. So it's still like a pretty close affair. But actually, when we look at it eye test-wise and we look at the strength of the rounds that have been gained, actually IHC is kind of looking a little bit better so far.
Oh, for sure. They've got great money as well. Like, Alps up, what's this, 4+K on all of these players. Like, they've got gun rounds on gun rounds to play here. And ATOX is on a comparatively pretty weak buy. Already, like, what? We're like 3 or 4 seconds into this round and we're down to 6-7 pieces of util here. 2 mollies, a smoke flash, and they're going to go for an upper timing. That's got disrupted beautifully there by Wonders, but that's where the players from ATOX storm straight out hard and hit a couple of real sharp entries. Dope is just sending it. He's licked the stamp. More efficient than Australia. Post just storming through outside right now.
Oh, he's maybe gone a little bit overzealous there, but it will be cleaned up pretty comfortably by MIQ in the end. And so 3 apiece ends up being the scoreline. Money is going to be quite good, though, for IHC. They've won these rounds pretty comfortably. Haven't been dropping too many guns on the way through, so they're going to get a full buy, easily get a full buy out of this one.
Yeah.
You keep that challenge up against ATOX.
I think that was Dobu's first 3 kills.
It was.
Old mate was 0 and 6, and then he's just run through outside and just dismantled IHC in that gun round. Warps out for annihilation and accuracy here. Posted up on secret. Bit of a slower round from ATOX early on. Zesta finds the opener there, actually into uppers, it looks like, from outside of Hut. Just going to put some pressure on IHC to make some plays here. Fortunately, that was not the play that Dobu was looking for, slipping through the annex smoke there.
Yeah, Annihilation looking to flex his muscles with that AWP now as well. There's going to be a regression smoke tossed out as well by ATOX, which accuracy is going to go and want to try to explore. MIQ, however, is waiting for that very play. This has worked out perfectly for ATOX on the T side, and look, they can really just sort of drop MIQ off at the A side, and he can do whatever he wants, and the rest of the guys can work their way in toward B.
Yeah.
Overall, a pretty well executed round so far from ATOX. It seems like they've tied their shoelaces back up, and then off to the races instead of you know, maybe letting this one get a little sloppy for too long.
Yeah, they've been pretty successful, like applying pressure towards outside and uppers and looking for, you know, some aggressive opening picks in the early portions of the round. And then if they find them, we get into an XVX, or they even find themselves in man advantage situations by getting picks with the runs into upper. They are pretty successful at just pivoting down into lowers and setting themselves up a post plant down there. CT's saving a T-spawn here. MIQ might go and have a look. Brew posted up on the line. Flash goes high and actually does push him off of the line. Fair bit of chip damage there. They're actually going to continue to throw flashes and scale in, but not effective enough to find Rue in the backside of spawn. So MIQ going down. Only 1 gun lost, not the end of the world. And 2 saved over will give IHC another buy. And as they are backs to the wall, economically speaking now, they will take a tack timeout, recognizing that they will be on a single reset if they lose this round to ATOX after what has been a pretty great start after the early kind of damage and success with the weapons that they forced and the great start that they got to the CT economy. It has very quickly been an answer from ATOX in the form of a couple of gun rounds to crack back down on that CT money. So
it will always be the difficulty against a team like ATOX that, yeah, you can get a couple of good rounds in here and you can for sure take advantage of maybe that more higher level of inconsistency that ATOX is going to bring in, as opposed to a team like maybe Mongols or what have you. But at the end of the day, ATOX is still a very good team at a base level, and if they perform, you know, at 70-80% of what they really can play at, they're still going to be a team that you're going to really struggle against for the most part, especially if you're one of these sort of newer teams that maybe is still kind of trying to put things together. So big test today for IHC. So it's not just going to be, yeah, we've won a few rounds and we're looking pretty good here. That's good enough. Got to see if we can do that on a bit more of a consistent basis. Otherwise, ATOX are just going to get back to their level that they'd be expecting to play at and deal with you that way. It's a very nice flick from Annihilation as well. It has given Dobu a little bit too much confidence that he can push his way forward, and so now it does come down to the rest of the ATOX members to kind of salvage that little bit of a mess, and it seems to have been not a very big concern for them at all. Annihilation this time, though, will miss the shot, oversteps his mark. As the smoke blooms, loses his life, and does allow this round to go back to 2-on-2, so ATOX definitely needs to slow things down.
Going to again in the XVX make their way down into lower. A few little sound cues with the utility invested in there by ATOX that are going to allow IHC to try to rotate into better positions before the plant goes down. Wonders and Ariuku going to hold hands over towards Megaton here, but ATOX have kind of dug their heels into windows here at least, and we'll play a crossfire between side and Val. Not looking to play any kind of crossfire. Man is just swinging in the open, trying to take duels. Zesta backing him up by busting open the doors and trying to take duels of his own, but they've taken a lot of damage here. They have finally found Ariuku. Wonders creeping up on the top side of the catwalk, and he's just getting danced around by Cabal. Going to get on the defuse, and Zesta is nowhere in the vicinity. That is a stuck Wonders. insane little exchange down there in lower. But IHC after attack timeout, which, look, I don't know how much it was down to the timeout and how much it was down to just them playing things well on the fly, have managed to recover that gun round, and now we head into a pretty big swing round in round number 9 here. ATOX with enough cash to invest. No loss bonus, minimum loss bonus for IHC as well, and no cash in the bank. So this one's good for 2 on either side, and probably going to give you a bit of a runway to win this half.
Bit of presence being shown on Outers from ATOX, but they're not really giving away their intentions all that much just yet. Accuracy on the move here and gets a nicely timed shot onto Cabal, who went hunting for a frag. In the meanwhile, though, there's some re-aggression from Zesta, and that brings back 1 frag at least. IHC, though, with this calculated aggression on both sides of the map, are starting to pick the ATOX offense apart.
Accuracy out on the line, in the open. Absolutely no one to trade him, but no one needed. He's already had enough impact in this game. It's going to put MIQ into a 1-on-3 for the reset here on either side. IHC already in good positions down in lows here, but out on that island, giving ones to MIQ is not where you want to be. You're going to see Wonders choose a better path than his teammate and just sit behind the door, wait for further sound cues. He's going to keep an eye on that lowest site, and over on the other side, Ariukul just listening for info in towards upper. Both players just trying to punish that plant and maybe potentially wait for their teammate before they take on the rest of this round.
It is a very winnable 2-on-1 though, with these 2 players isolated. If you can get the bomb down and find Ariukul, he's looking for him, but did not spot him. Just a case of timing that gets the better of him, and so IHC will hold on to the lead. They are certainly making ATOX work for every round that they're getting at the moment, and obviously ATOX is not getting a huge amount of them, so it's a far more competitive matchup than I had expected.
Yeah, very aggressive game so far from both teams. This kind of feels like the Mongolian style right now. Like individual skill and rifling prowess and just playing generally aggressive, as is the way here in Asia, but with a decent amount of structure, like kind of taking intuitive duels and at points in the round where they make sense, and playing with confidence does really seem to be the flavor of Mongolian CS that's developed as of late off the back of teams like Mongols.
It's a very nice nade onto Zesta. But it's not going to diminish his ability to hit some headshots with that Deagle. That's really the way that ATOX get through this round anyway. They're going to have to be very crisp, and so far they're not being. E-Fire is looking pretty crispy, in fact, with that M4A1S on Outer. There is that kill from Zesta that I was talking about, but it's come through a little bit too late to make this round interesting.
I mean, this is exactly what I said in the pre-show. It's like the guy that you don't know anything about is looking the sharpest in the server right now. And that is Mongolian CS in a nutshell, my friends.
Yep. Can't say I've ever heard of E-Fire before. But it seems like Mongolia just continues to churn out these new players that are quite solid. 6-4 right now for IHC. They're on a bit of a mission in this first half, and starting to look like they can take an advantage out of the first half into the second. The way things are going at the moment, 7 definitely on the cards, and obviously they'd be looking for 8.
That's just crazy. Like, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying, like, these players just play so confident. They play without pressure. They look for gaps, and these are the kind of games that you get in ECL. They're very entertaining. They're very high octane. Duels being taken absolutely everywhere. If there was a bit more online, I don't think that you'd see IHC playing with this level of confidence, to be honest. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a good shot from Accuracy. 2-on-4 now. Zesta, the only one to find a kill in this round for ATOX, and going to need to do more than just that. Timing was nice on the kill to Accuracy, but of course there was always going to be more members there, and Good setup from IHC. That is going to be the 16th kill for eFire in the first half. He is really on a bit of a tear at the moment. The way things are looking, this is going to be 8 for IHC.
That's the fun thing about these games, and we get to watch them. Is just you get to see like what the raw skill and potential is of some of these players, whether they can, you know, replicate that in a higher pressure game or on LAN and all those kind of things. Look, those things are up in the air, but the raw level of someone like eFire is something to look at. Uppers rush here for ATOX, getting shut down pretty well by IHC. They're flooding into the side together. Kabal and Dobu combining for a lot more kills than you'd expect them to get with weaponry like that. And Dobu now cutting sound back into lobby. He's found himself a Galil and he's beat these CTs on the rotation. All of these footsteps heard by Ariukul. That'll help eFire get into position back vent before this lowest side is even taken. But it's all a bit of a ruse. Dobu just trying to play with his food a bit. Find himself a favorable rotation timing. But it seems like IHC has read this one well.
He's got a lot of time to play with, that's for sure, but you're right, Ariukul waiting for that push, but it's always an awkward angle. Either way, 8-4 will be the scoreline at halftime. So things are looking pretty interesting, actually. I don't know that we expected this one. 8-4. IHC have done pretty well in that first half. And ATOX have some thinking to do. Yeah, they're going to move over to that CT side, and it's still going to be a map that's winnable for them, especially if they can pick this pistol up. But IHC are giving them a real run for their money.
Where's the smoke, Jordan? Where's the smoke? You can't find it. Finally found it on the spawn floor. In the meanwhile, though, Annihilation's taken out Rue. Well traded, and a goosh up onto Cabal in Heaven, who continues to re-peak. Absolute fearlessness from pretty much everyone on the server right now. MIQ in between a rock and a hard place, being wrapped on well by Ariukul. Going to find him for free, and now it's alarm signals for ATOX as Cabal breaks his ankles on the uppers floor.
Yeah, this is just not going well for ATOX at all in the pistol, is it? Cabal on 6 HP. The difference maker, the X factor might be Dobu. But he's made a lot of noise, and so EFI is going to grab one more. Up to 19 for the map now, and Zesta, his position is going to be known. He's going to have to be aware of that wrap coming in behind him. Time of the essence. ATOX need another kill, and they need it soon. Not sure that it's going to be coming from Cabal, though, because accuracy should have that one on lockdown. If not, Ariukul, who does inevitably get it done. A 2-on-1 for Zesta is too much to work with. And it's 9-4 now, with IHC having now picked up the second half pistol and looking very good to close this map out.
See if we're going to get this round 2 force out of ATOX here. Worked wonders, I would say, over time for IHC. I don't think they won the second round, but the round maybe saved a bunch of weapons, and I think won round 3. The purchases that they made. ATOX will not take the same approach, though, despite being so far behind. It's a full USP save to buy up into round 15. Nice movement from accuracy. Straight down the vent. Rest of IHC looking to meet up with him by storming their way through outside, and Wonders, in the meanwhile, controlling those rotations. The Mac 10's in prime position to be farming up some USPs, especially in that situation where Zesta can't quite find the right timing onto accuracy. This is a lot of money being made by IHC, which I think is some kind of crypto, isn't it?
Apparently.
I don't know nothing about crypto, but the stocks are going up. I'll tell you that one for free.
I'm not sure. I think there is a crypto attached to it in some way, shape, or form, but I haven't really done enough looking into it to really know. All I know is that they are Mongolian esports teams. They have like a PUBG mobile team as well or something. Kicking around, I'm sure.
Fly through for ATOX. Getting a lot of head armors after seeing the Galils and the Mac 10s. Cabal trying to get active on outside, but this E-Fire bloke has come to play today. 20 kills in 15 rounds is nothing to sneeze at against ATOX.
1-for-1 though, and so they're going to have to go on the hunt to try to find MIQ, which they do pretty quick. Smart again. B site now starting to look cracked open. Dobu, only the 5 kills for the map so far, is here to try and defend. He's actually going to receive much of a push from IHC though. They will slow things down. Fire a bit of time to work, which unfortunately is going to backfire. So we find ourselves now with a 3-on-3, and IHC have actually lost quite a lot of map control. They're stuck in the ramp room. Got to make a decision.
Yeah, good movement in the mid-round from ATOX. Taking the right duels and controlling a lot of important areas of the map, which is going to really restrict IHC's movements. Dobu's been turtling down here in lower. Decon door swung wide open is giving IHC cause for concern. Going to take their time. Just creep through lowers, clear out every angle they can before they try to get themselves in a comfortable post plan here. No kits on ATOX. So as soon as this tap comes out, they need to kind of get a bit of a move on.
Well, Dobu unable to win an important duel. So Rue already with 1, but accuracy going down will peg that one back. At least he's done a bit of damage to Zesta. Difficulty is obviously Rue's on a sliver of HP, so a lot of this is going to come down to Wonders. Molotov timing will be very nice and will force Zesta to overcommit. He didn't want to do that. Now it's onto Annihilation solo. He isn't going to win the duel, and it'll be another one for IHC as they get one step closer to what will, at this point, look like an ultimately quite competitive total from them. And they're on their way to like a 13-4 victory, which is just dominance.
Yeah, 100%. Been a good showing for them, and I like this is the kind of result that I'm really not surprised to see in ESL Challenger League. It's great after the player break. Sleepy stuff from ATOX, IHC. Got a bit of a point to prove. Whether you're one of these young up-and-coming players in Mongolia wanting to have a crack at teams like ATOX or Mongols, or someone like Accuracy who has a bit of a point to prove after getting removed from the roster. Whether that turns into more consistent map wins and results in other circumstances is, you know, up to your own interpretation, but it's still entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah. You speak his name and he'll find a way to have impact in the round. There's another one that's gone in the favor of Accuracy to open this up. I mean, to be fair, E-Fire has been the standout, but there hasn't really been a bad performance across any of the IHC members. Some re-aggression from Zesta. And he is going to get away with that for the meanwhile, but IHC taking control of Outer, taking control of the A site. One step at a time, they are dislodging ATOX. This has also spotted out MIQ and will make short work of him. Relatively aware of where Zesta's position as well was, because I think he took a couple of ticks from that Molotov, and IHC might have heard that, so this is obviously 12 for IHC, and doesn't really look like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon, so end of the map is very much in sight.
Map point here for IHC. Got one more buy for ATOX to see if they can do anything with it, but pretty low percentage comeback on the CT side from here. Looks like uppers pressure with the early flashes. E-Fire being sent straight out to try and take a duel onto Zesta, who is full blind, and he's going to win it as well. Rotation coming in from Dobu. And the rest of IHC making their way down into lower, and it's a free site.
Very good start to the round for IHC. Double nade in. Not going to cause too much of a ruckus, but Cabal, oh, he's right-clicked. No, you can't be doing that in CS2. That is just unreasonable. It should have been 2 kills for Cabal. Wonders is going to be taken down. Maybe it's still going to be around here for ATOX, but time is running out, and Accuracy will get the freebie onto Annihilation. It's problems for ATOX as they try to scramble for this retake onto the defuse. MIQ sitting it. It's a full 10-second defuse, and there's no way getting away with that. That is it. That is it. It is done and dusted. Dobu knows it. IHC know it. I know it. And Cabal should surely have his head in his hands, because that made a huge difference to the round, and IHC just completely dominate ATOX 13-4. First map of ESL Challenger League Season 48, and I'll tell you what, Pilsky, that was a bit of a banger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am not too surprised. Those are the kind of games that we see a fair bit in ECL, especially off the back of the player break. So, you know, looking at the two trajectories of the teams, maybe a bit of complacency from ATOX and a little bit more to prove from IHC. And that's going to give us a little bit more consideration, I would suppose, to some of these underdog Mongolian teams. We know that there's a lot of talent in the region. It's just a question of whether that translates into the server, and at least in that map. And I'm hoping in some more for IHC, who've got a couple of notable names on their team. We could see some more from them, because you know, that's what ECL is all about, seeing some of these players like E-Fire have some big performances, and then you can kind of, you know, point to those when you cast them in some other leagues, and you could say, I saw that raw potential, let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah, indeed. We will get to see if they can do it again, because it's time for us to sort of start thinking about map number 2. First, of course, it's going to be break time, but in about 10 minutes or so, make sure you come back and see if IHC can run it back. G'day, welcome back on in. It is ESL Challenger League Season 48, and it's day number 1 already. We're getting some pretty good stuff. I think we've got a IHC, you know, kind of at 100% really, and ATOX maybe taking it a little bit slower today, Pilski, but IHC getting that upset victory, and it wasn't even like it was a difficult map for them. It ended up being a 13-4 win. That's quite dominant.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it was bit back and forth in the first half over the early couple of rounds. You know, Pistol, I think, went the way of ATOX and IHC kind of scrapping their way in there. A couple of early gun rounds where things were close. And then I think at some point, IHC just really started to pull away. They won that second half Pistol and everything just went their way. They just won every single round, every single XVX, and were able to sweep the game pretty convincingly. So, you know, we saw Nuke, you know, right in the middle of the pool be a really clean map for them. Now you go on to Ancient. This is a map that we've seen ATOX playing a million times. It's right in their wheelhouse, right in their comfort zone. And I think they've had a bit of a kick up the butt in that last map, if anything, and should be probably looking a little better in this map. Less so because there's something on the line in this game, but more so because, you know, you can't just be letting IHC walk all over your 2 maps in a row when you're, you know, meant to be one of the big dogs in Mongolia.
Yep, definitely. I mean, as you say, obviously Ancient is definitely there for ATOX and on quite a consistent basis. It's also them that kind of ultimately choose to go into Ancient as that map pick. But what I will say is that Ancient is generally, like these days, like a very popular map just across the world, obviously, but specifically in Asia, specifically in Mongolia, it seems like all of the Mongolian teams tend to play quite a lot of Ancient. So have to imagine, without any prior knowledge at all, really, as to how IHC look on this map, that they have at least been, you know, exposed to Ancient quite a bit, and whether that's as IHC or as, you know, players on other teams, I'm sure they know their way around it, so I don't think they're going to be super disappointed to be headed onto this one either. And if they can bring that same level that they did on Nuke, then yeah, I can definitely see them getting a 2-0 tonight. So we'll find out as we get ready to jump onto Ancient here and see if IHC can replicate their success from map number 1 of today. Focal point for this round will be accuracy with that P250.
Going to be quick smoke in the middle. Annihilation and a bunch of the boys in a 1-3-1 really trying to take duels into middle, but it's a perfect flash up over the top from accuracy to try to set up the opening duel. Wonders in the meanwhile has found the pick on the extremity, lurking out A main, which definitely puts a bit of a spanner in the works in this round, although ATOX have found some favorable duels in middle and taken some control in middle. The pick on the A side has drawn the rotation from the rest of the CTs, and in the meanwhile, IHC with the lurk up B ramp from Rue have got themselves an easy post plant over here on B.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to pick up where we left off, really, and that is going to be IHC with the advantage early on in the piece. Wonders was spotted out with that sort of late flank in towards middle, and luckily for ATOX, that was quite quickly dealt with, so these extra couple of members can come scurrying across, but they've still got a lot to do. They've got to find 3 more members over on this B site, and the post-plant setup is quite good from IHC. Rue striking for a double in accuracy. P250, mentioned that earlier. He's going to make short work of Dobu. It is, again, IHC that will get themselves in the lead. And ATOX will be having to play from behind in a very similar fashion to what they did on Nuke. And obviously, they weren't able to really do too much on Nuke, so this already has me a little bit worried.
MIQ considering the force there, but not committing to it. Similar to the CT round 2 that we saw from ATOX on Nuke, it's just a full save with the USPs looking to buy up into round number 3. IHC. Quick smokes into middle. Denying info to the CT side. Molly to progress into Cheetah and spotted out. All of these players trying to push straight down the ramp. Accuracy with the P250, and now layers of mollies and flashes to push ATOX back, not giving them any opportunity to do anything with the USP swarm down the B ramp. And IHC, after seeing all of those players, just going to disengage, go and take the A site for free. Really good calling.
Yeah, loving what we're getting from IHC tonight. Nothing at all for ATOX in this round to get excited about. Haven't been able to pick up any guns. They may be able to find a kill or 2 here in mid, but Ariukul does a good job of helping Rue out until he falls, and so that does kind of leave Rue up the creek without a paddle. He's got that Mac 10 trying to do some work. Gets a bit awkward now if the AKs were to fall for IHC, but it is locked down okay in the end, and so the rifles do get taken through. 2-0 the lead for IHC, and ATOX now will put their hands in their pockets and pull out a bit of cash and say, we'll have a crack now too, thank you very much.
Accuracy holding on to that P250 through for the pistols allowed him to go for a pretty early ult purchase here, so no pseudo bonus with Galils and Mac 10s and things like that in round number 3 for IHC. Going in with a strong buy, limited util here for ATOX. Another delayed flash over middle, similar to the pistol from Accuracy, catches ATOX completely off guard. 2-player disadvantage in the first gun round. The domination just continues to pile.
Yeah, that's already a bad sign for ATOX. They might be about to lose another one. Wonders is waiting patiently, and then Rue set up on shelf to catch Zesta as well. They knew that ATOX was going to try and get active in the mid-round on the 3-on-5, and they have dealt with that so cleanly already that IHC showing their prowess on the map. IQ's been spotted out there in CT spawn and in a sense almost being toyed with by E-Fire, who does come a bit of damage back in response, but IHC more than happy to plant that bomb down on the B side and let the round play itself out, though they will certainly be going hunting. Accuracy should be able to find MIQ there, but doesn't actually quite get the timing right. MIQ doing a little bit of damage on his way out, though it will be a miracle if he's able to save his gun.
A really clean round there from IHC. Orb carried over, 2 rifles saved as well as they head into an anti-eco. And still just really haven't seen ATOX wake up too much. To be fair, has not been that much opportunity so far this game. We've had a pistol where they were kind of outmaneuvered and put into a bad situation. And the same for the first gun round. Great flash over mid from Accuracy, sets up IHC with a 2-man advantage. So feels like ATOX have just been playing from behind this entire time.
Well, Zesta got a 5-7 in hand, but he's not going to get to use it. Cabal has a crack as well, but he wasn't quite prepared for Ariukul to cover off. And this is looking really quite clean indeed. Way too clean almost even from IHC. ATOX are not putting up much of a fight early on. And given the fact that ATOX dropped that first map so cleanly as well, you do have to sort of wonder, like, is this just the level that they're going to bring today? Like, is there no coming back for ATOX?
I just feel like ATOX just hasn't even been in a good position so far. Like IHC's just had really good reads, really good favorable situations so far this game. I want to see a bit of pushback from ATOX and see if IHC can still continue to kind of grind through the rounds and keep things competitive, because they've kind of found themselves into such strong, favorable positions early on. Want to see things get a little bit more interesting in some of these rounds, and this is an example of it. Sub-mid control established from ATOX. Flashes, beautiful. Again, Accuracy's flashes are insane. Every flash from pistol to first gun round to the second gun round here is good for an opening kill.
Yeah, you'd have to guess that IHC's been putting in some work during that player break. Get themselves as up to speed as possible before the start of ESL Challenger League Season 48. That work is paying off at the moment. So we're smoking for Red Root. IHC will have a look into mid. It's going to be a Molotov to force MIQ out of position. Zesta there to try to take the fight, but really nice angle isolation by IHC, taking those duels one at a time rather than both at the same Leaves Cabal dead and Dobu the last surviving for ATOX, but really nothing to write home about for ATOX so far in either map, and that trend for IHC is going to continue. And with every single round that goes past, you build up more and more confidence that this is going to end up being actually a 2-0 going the way of IHC, and already our first prediction of the season is looking like it's going to be a wrong one.
They just have a perfect read. Like, don't know if that's down to accuracy, being on the team before, really kind of understanding how they play, and if they've been a bit stale after the player break and haven't really reinvented too much, along with feeling a little bit sleepy and not too much motivation to win a game like this compared to a game like IHC. Could be a lot of factors going on that leads to a result like this, but as it stands right now, does not feel like ATOX is necessarily digging that deep, calling any tactical timeouts, or making any big adaptations to what's happening in the server on either map so far. And as far as IHC's been concerned, it feels like most of the time they have a perfect read, and when you see that accuracy, formally of this ATOX roster is just throwing the perfect flash to find these duels and setting them up perfectly in that supportive AWPing role on the T side. It kind of gives you a bit of pause for thought about just how good the reads are and why that might be.
I'll run it back, but ATOX don't have a huge amount of weaponry to work with in this round. MIQ in that smoke, looking to see if he can find a cheap timing maybe onto Rue. In the meanwhile, Dobu will go down on ramp. And yeah, it's perfectly set up for IHC. That's just way too clean.
Another flash from accuracy onto the perfect position. 7 assists so far, and like 4 or 5 of those are effective flash assists where he's pop flashing his teammate onto the line on the perfect timing for a free kill. With insane consistency.
They're being rewarded for it, there's no doubt about that. Another buy comes through for ATOX. When are they going to break the drought, though? 3 smokes instantly tossed out by AHC from spawn. 1 to counter the fire that's tossed in by ATOX so that they can challenge mid. The other 2 to cut off the CT's viewing angles towards Cheetah and Red Room.
Yeah, a lot of info denial for IHC in the early round here. Just spreading them out. Taking their time. See what they choose to do once these smokes start to fade now in the mid-round. Going to be a follow-up. Smoke to Red Room, volley onto the cubby and flash over the top. Zesta pushed out of middle. Duel on towards Cheetah. He's going to push Annihilation back for a second, but finally ATOX are getting rolling. Duel won by Zesta from Red Room. Annihilation re-aggresses onto Cheetah's side. And the map is not being given by ATOX this round.
No, but the round's not yet done. Not going to count my chickens before they hatch, especially when IHC is concerned. They are looking pretty fine tonight. There's a good shot from Wonders that is going to open the A site up somewhat. Annihilation is looking in from CT spawn. And with the Molotov changes, he will still be able to see over the top of that one. But if Zesta were to fall, that'll be where things really do start to get interesting. Luckily for ATOX, Annihilation and Zesta are going to be enough to combine and get that first round on the board for ATOX so that they can start their campaign here on map number 2.
It was a pretty clean gun round as well. Mining is nice for ATOX now. Having the better end of the loss bonus and surviving with so many players, all still in play. Cash is fantastic for IHC though. They have been getting through these rounds relatively easily. That's doing their economy a lot of favors right now. Again. Flashes over the top from accuracy, catches both CTs fully blind, but at least there's a trade from Cabal. Now you see IHC in the mid-round getting active towards the speed side of things.
Better for ATOX as we go on, but given that it was so dominant for IHC, better is still maybe not necessarily going to translate into a round victory. There was 2 quick kills in there for IHC, and now a bomb plant. Annihilation is busy over on the A side of the map, and Cabal's doing work on B. Is he aware of Rue's position? Doesn't look like he was. Rue waited patiently enough to get that freebie, which is exactly what he needed. Molotov blows up in the midair. And Rue is now aware of Annihilation's rotation. Footsteps are being made. He's been able to wrap around behind him, and he's just going to wait for that tap, but this is unwinnable for Annihilation. Full 10-second defuse would have been required. Rue's heard the footsteps, and he knows there's no defuse happening. So that'll be that. It is another round for IHC, and look, ATOX at least are going to be able to hold on to the AWP, but it's a wooden spoon prize right now.
No kit, despite plenty of cash to be able to buy it. And that is arguably a little bit of complacency. It's kind of autopiloting your way through the buy phase on ATOX in a game like this that kind of comes back to bite you. Especially given the way IHC are playing right now. They are very clearly early to mid-round contesting with info denial and, you know, setting their riflers up with good supportive utility to take duels. In fact, this time it's accuracy to go take the duel himself. Waiting for a flash from the teammate. Doesn't end up needing it. Cabal seems to be actually activating now. He's had a multi-frag in multiple gun rounds so far. Rue getting dueled there. Dobu just runs through the smoke and gets 2. ATOX are finally pushing back a little bit. Ooh.
Oh, but what? He's hit his mouse wheel or something. I don't know what's happened there, but either way, ATOX is going to get another one. It's not really going to stabilize too much, though, because scoreline's still 7-2. And another buy to come through for IHC. It doesn't make for a very easy task for ATOX trying to salvage this half.
IHC finally starting to run out of cash, though. Not much loss bonus behind this either. ATOX finally finding some success, particularly middle off the back of Cabal. I've cast a curse him to high held though. And that's where Dobu, similar to the last round, wants to get active inside this cheetah smoke. And seems like that's the plan for ATOX. Get active in the early to mid round with these strong riflers and make some plays. And that's exactly what MIQ's done. They haven't seen anyone walk down B ramp in the mid round. Ariukul, trigger discipline, trying to find MIQ as well, but he's already scurried back to the B site.
Annihilation unable to hit that shot. Keeps IHC in the fight, and that is going to have further complications now for ATOX because Ariukul should be dead, but now he's killed MIQ. B-site's starting to open up. Smoke's going to go down, cutting off Annihilation's angle. He will at least get in front of the Molotov, but it seems IHC are aware of that, prepared for that. Annihilation is going to have to show his prowess, and this time it doesn't land. E-Fire will chance to plant, but in fact he's going to go looking for information, and he's going to get more than that. He'll get that kill as well. IHC winning themselves another round and on for an even more dominant half than the first that they saw on Nuke.
Pretty close gun round. IHC minimum loss bonus here. Money is kind of in a weird position. ATOX are going to buy up into this one. A couple of MP9s in the mix. Still got the better end of the loss bonus, but it would probably be a soft reset if they drop this round. Flashes up open mid, and it's the pace of the MAC-10. Once again, Cabal trades and even is able to double down. Seems like he has a pretty good hold and control on middle so far this game. But it's not really doing ATOX any favors consistently converting these rounds.
That's a nice timing from MIQ, waiting patiently for Rue to step onto the line. Accuracy will get his trade, but there's going to be difficulties getting the bomb onto the side. Dobu's spotting that angle. Wonder's going to have to win this duel one-on-one.
Oh, the flash again!
Beautiful from Accuracy. Comes through at the perfect time, and that is going to allow the bomb plant. This is now starting to look winnable. Oh, Accuracy gets the info as to where Annihilation is, though. Annihilation Annihilation is really just the distraction at this point. It was Cabal with a backstab that needed to have the impact, and he did. He got one. No more than that. And Wonders around the corner catches Annihilation. It's another one for IHC, and it's like they just know where those ATOX members are coming from, because that was a very well played out 2-on-3.
Yeah, and it's a soft reset heading into the last gun round. It's going to force out a lot of MP9s. Famous. Weak buy coming through for ATOX. And again, it's the lesser known names on IHC doing the heavy lifting. E-Fire in the last map was fantastic. He's still putting in good work, but this time it's Wonders. And it has to be said, accuracy is a name you'd probably associate with hitting the AWP shots. It's also been the accuracy of his flashes this game that's been a marvel. There's another one. Another opening duel, one in middle off the back of the flashes over the top from accuracy.
Well, Annihilation. Decent kill with the Deagle. Maybe keeps them in the race for the third round at the end of the half, but really grasping at straws at this point, trying to provide a storyline that makes ATOX look competitive right now, because it has been anything but. Wonders is busy over toward the A side of the map, and he'll lose his life. And IQ now with that MP9 also doing some work, but not enough to stop IHC from getting the plant. If Rue can get one more, it would be Curtains, but now it's on to accuracy. 1-on-3 is required. He's got the first. Zesta and Annihilation both incredibly low. Is that information there for accuracy? Well, maybe it doesn't matter because the AWP is out anyway. He's going to drop the smoke, wait for the push from Zesta. The 1-on-3 is on, and accuracy will have it. Double digits secured for IHC in the half. Well, it's another more dominant half from IHC, 10-2 here against ATOX, and if you thought the 8-4 was quite a strong start for them on Nuke, then this one has to be a step above that. It's really not looking like ATOX is going to be competitive tonight at all. We might end with a very fast second map.
Could do. Pistol will tell us a lot. Going to be fisticuffs over middle, similar to what we saw, and it's all blue in the kill feed, including some team kills. MIQ trying to pick up the pieces, but he's getting swung from Cheetah as well and is unable to get out of dodge. Annihilation tells the boys, hey guys, I got the A site. Come on over whenever you're ready. And no one's answering. The only thing that he receives is more gooshes. And that was a pretty clean and concise pistol round from IHC. Yeah, this is just a ridiculous best of two.
Yeah. ATOX don't have many options left. Didn't get a bomb plant there. They're going to have to force buy anyway. They're down 11-2. You know, they need to get something somewhere. So it's going to be Dobu to sacrifice his buy by investing into the AK. Drops it over to MIQ. Doesn't have any armor himself. It's really wishful thinking at this point for ATOX, but got to give something a crack and be out toward B lane, where the majority of the forces set themselves up. Fire has heard the footsteps of Zesta. We'll take him down without too much further ado. And that is going to be the info that IHC were needing, that the bulk of the forces are working their way up on ramp at B. MIQ does well to get one, but needs more than that, and he's not really going to be given the chance to do it. Rue is dancing around with that M4, and Dobu, again, only going to be good for one, which is just not enough with this hero AK. Someone has to step up and make some magic happen. Maybe that's Annihilation with the Deagle getting that frag. However, he's not aware of accuracy wrapping around behind him. Bombs now dropped on the B side, and Cabal has to do it alone. Could well find this timing onto accuracy. Oh, and he's aware as well of wonders. That is sharp from Cabal. It's not over yet. IHC now are going to have to go back to a poorer buy of their own.
Well, he's kind of just been the standout for ATOX on this map, despite the fact that they've been getting kind of slapped. Cabal's had a couple of multi-frags in middle. You can see 100 ADR in a game they're losing 11-3. Is pretty solid. A couple of times IHC contesting middle, he was able to shut it down on the CT side, so at least someone's shooting back from ATOX.
Dobu opens the account onto accuracy. I mean, this is not exactly the round that IHC is expecting to win. So may quickly see this one fall by the wayside in the favor of ATOX. But let's see what DeFi can do with this MP9. This could be good for the first. And there is a low HP member there as well. So potential chance to get one more here, though, with Dobu hard watching that smoke. It's not really going to present any opportunities. And in the end, ATOX look as though they will survive another. Nuke's going to make it. He's got to find himself that AK. It's dropped a bit further back towards Donut. Has retrieved it. It's a Khalil, in fact. There's no chance he's going to make around here. But he is making it a costly one for ATOX.
It's an instant one-tap on the player in spawn side. Every time IHC is peeking anything, ATOX is taking damage at a minimum, if not losing rounds. Starting to recover a couple of rounds towards the end of this game. This will be an anti-eco for them that should be pretty cut and dry. And even heading into the next gun round, 2.4 loss bonus. Looking at most of these IHC players on 1800, 1900. It's going to be pretty poor buy in terms of util, probably no AWP. Be an easier buy for ATOX to navigate against. Oh my god, E-Fire is ridiculous this game. Both Nuke and over here on Ancient. Even probably an NS in the chat there from ATOX that I heard.
Yep. Oh, and another one.
Okay, I mean, I can't even say I'm that surprised, to be honest, the way that this game's been going. 4-on-2 for IHC. They're very far out of position and no kits, so this is a pretty low percentage round.
Yeah, smoke's going to stop them from rotating their way back in from CT spawn as well. But AK's been retrieved. Just need a bit of cannon fodder to jump in front of Rue, and maybe he can hit the shot that's required. Zesta and Dobu trying to weight that timer down desperately, but the fights will be quite isolated. Wonders through this smoke. Shouldn't get much, but his timing is perfect. That's so unreasonable. Someone's got to get off the defense. They've spotted Dobu out. They've got the frag as well.
God.
And another round for IHC. One step too soon. ATOX would not have been expecting that. They were hoping that they could get a little bit more, but they will remain on 4. And IHC are now 1 round away from completing the 2-0 this evening. Series point available to them.
And I think as far as ATOX is concerned, you probably just go, well, good job, guys. You played really well tonight. I'll see you in the next tournament. See if you can pull that up again, because, I mean, there's just probably not a lot of motivation for ATOX to really turn this one around. This is the kind of game where, you know, it's an online best of 2 in ECL. We just go, yep, well played, good job, guys. Again, Cabal continuing to find impact. Finds an opener in middle, and he's going to take down one of the heavy hitters on IHC here. Spread the CT knives a little thinner. That's another good kill from Zesta. He's taking matters into his own hands over on the aggressive lurk towards A, and that's pulled a lot of rotations as well.
Yeah, Zesta's going to go and have a little bit of a look for more as well. He's kind of hanging around waiting to see if anyone from IHC is going to try and find some info on that A site. This is well set up to find a victory for ATOX, but with Zesta now going down, IHC can turn their attention elsewhere as they're able to clear the A site out. In that meanwhile, though, Cabal has slipped the timing. Annihilation does as well, and so too is Dobu. They're both into that red room, which is going to split the defense. So it's essentially a 4-on-1, regardless of whichever site ATOX decide to go to. That one lone defender is going to have to do crazy amounts of work, and it is not going to happen. Cabal is eager for a knife kill, and he's going to get it. So ATOX keep themselves in this fight, however battered and bloody and bruised they are.
Yeah, you got the save from Rue. Never mind. Cast to curse him. Minimum loss bonus for accuracy and a Rue are equal, so probably a force here. Just to even up the cash. Get 3 M4s and an armor, a couple of pistols. It's a doable round. Especially given they just won one with nothing but USPs and 1 or 2 Deegs. Bar's had a pretty good strike rate in middle here. Who's made his way lane. Big util dump over on the B side of the map. Cheetah, B ramp, and the site completely on fire. Despite all of that, Rue is still going to aggress down B ramp.
Oh, his timing actually almost looked good, but MIQ was keeping an eye on things. Ariukul as well is going to try and take a fight forward on that ramp, but isolated duel as it was pretty easy to pick off for ATOX with their superior weaponry. IHC starting to run out of ideas, unless maybe Accuracy can live up to his namesake with that Deagle. Annihilation's on 2 HP. Wants to make sure he doesn't overstep. Here's where Accuracy can come into play. 3 bullets remain. He would get one more onto Dobu. That changes the round. And Wonder's got Annihilation as well. Surely not. Another cheeky pickup from IHC. Accuracy's found himself an M4. He's smoked off ramp. He's got to be prepared with Cabal from behind, but he won't be. Cabal has been quite slippery this game, but it has at least provided time for the remaining IHC members to rotate their way across. Wonders will pop a molly in, but with no defuse kit, this is still going to be a tough one for IHC to negotiate. It's a big crossfire to try to break. not sure that they're going to be able to make that one happen. Cabal and Zesta well set up to deal with this, though. If Cabal drops, Zesta might as well. The swing through from E-Fire is good enough, and that will mark the end of a very tough night for ATOX. 13 up for IHC, and they will be very pleased with the start of their campaign here in ESL Challenger League Season 48, because that's a 2-0 win over one of the best teams in the competition.
Yeah.
If we were to look down the list, right, like Linvision, ATOX, Tyloo, jury's out as to how good Linvision is at the moment. Tyloo also still kind of in that rebuild phase, and then you have ATOX, and besides that, there is a pretty significant on-paper drop-off for the rest of the teams. So if you can take out ATOX, it's almost an argument to be made that you can take out anybody in this season of ESL Challenger League if that's the level you're going to bring as IHC.
Yeah, I mean, they were the team to go through the upper bracket and, get themselves a second place. Even looked at times like they could take the whole season in Season 47 to see IHC, a new team just coming through from Season 47 relegation, dispatch of them so cleanly. It's a promising sign. It tells you, enough about IHC that, we've got good structure in this team. You can see they know how to play CS aggressively and confident. Accuracy's got a great read on how to play against his former team. His supportive utility was fantastic. Everyone was sharp across the board, but mainly the two players that we know less about were probably kind of the standouts between E-Fire and Wonders tonight. So that is a promising sign for a team like IHC on the come up here in Mongolia and Asia, more so as a greater region. However, can they replicate that kind of performance going forward? I'm keen to see. Because that kind of shows you what their raw potential is when they're feeling themselves, when there's not much pressure on the line. And look, it's really just about playing up to that ceiling.
Yeah, on the other hand, I think we have to look at ATOX and sort of question that a little bit and say, yeah, I mean, there's obviously excuses that they came off the back of a player break and whatnot, but that level that they brought today is just not going to be good enough if that's a team that, for example, wants to kind of recontest at the next Asia RMR in the similar fashion that they did last time. So a bit of work to do for ATOX in the meanwhile, but either way, that's it. That's it, done and dusted. Like IHC have made for a very quick and clean night tonight, so we'll bid you guys a good night, and we'll come back again tomorrow for a little bit more Asia CS action alongside, I think, Oceania as well. So, look, make sure you look forward to that one. But for now, we'll have to bid you good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.